back here with director Matt Creed. Congratulations. I want to give you all a chance to ask questions, but I'm just going to lead things off with a couple of questions. Can you talk a little bit about how this project first started, how it came about?
The film is loosely based off of Amy Grantham, who plays Lily. It's based off of her life, and we wrote the film during this moment in her life. So she was just finishing her treatment. And one afternoon we were hanging out, and she was talking about these feelings that she was having, and after I kept thinking about it and just thought it was really interesting. And then I kept meeting up with her and talking, and I asked her if we could write about it and make a film, and she said sure. And so that's how it really came about.
One of the things I think that makes this film so special is that it really is about feelings and emotions. And one of the things that struck me watching it again was your use of music. Can you talk a little bit about how you decided to select the music to reflect what Amy's going through? Lily.
Well, the music, the score of the film is actually completely improvised, and it was done live from the scene where you see him playing guitar. So he's actually playing that, and we did 3 takes, and he improvised something for each, something different for each of the takes. And then when we were editing, I was like, shit, I need a score, and I just kind of went back to those takes and kind of spread them around the film, and it ended up working really well. But all the other songs, I don't know, it just kind of, to me, the songs evoke the same emotion as the film. So I think that's how they relate in most ways. But, other than that, there's not, there's a lot of legal issues with music. So it's not, you're kind of, you don't have many options when you don't have money.
I have some more questions, but I'd love to open it up to the audience. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand, and we have a microphone, and you can ask away. All right, I'll start with another question. Oh, there's a question back there. Yeah.
Well, I never watch certain films. Obviously, Cleo 5 to 7, Agnes Varda film, which is sort of similar to this, but kind of, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it follows her. Oh, you did? Oh, wow. But a lot of French New Wave films, Eastern European directors, Bellatar, and of course John Cassavetes. So like A Woman Under the Influence was probably one of the main influences on this film. Was just like really intense studies of the human spirit and very vulnerable characters, and specifically vulnerable women. And so that film specifically speaks to this immensely.
Yes.
I thought that the film captured really beautifully, anecdotally, what I hear in my work, working with young women with breast cancer. And I just wondered, because that post-treatment time is so difficult and often ignored in a lot of ways, because you're finished treatment and everyone wants to celebrate and you lose your support system. And so I just wondered what the process for her making this film, since you've disclosed that she actually had breast cancer, what the process was for her sort of making the film, and whether that was cathartic for her, or whether you can speak to that at all.
I definitely think it was cathartic for her, and for myself, because really what this film is it's, to me, a really kind of deep exploration of vulnerability. And during my conversations with Amy, is I found myself relating to her struggles and her emotions so much, and I've haven't had cancer, and so I can't really speak to that aspect. But what I kept going home and thinking about, like, why am I relating to her so much when she's talking about this? I haven't gone through this. And then I started to realize I was really connecting with her vulnerability. And and then I started realizing, well, if I'm relating to her, then a lot of people can relate to her. And when we were writing, a lot of discussions we had were about that. And we both kind of sat down, and it was really important to us to not make a cancer film per se, and explore kind of everything after that, which would leave someone to be very vulnerable. So it was kind of to tap into that headspace and really kind of show how someone navigates through it, and and then I wanted to kind of tap into what was important to Amy too, is to tap into the BRCA gene and and that feeling of isolation that one has after something like this, and and I think a lot of people can relate to that if they've had a loved one pass away, or they've just broken up out of a very long relationship, or it's very similar to what a kid would maybe feel after they graduate college.
I thought you captured the vulnerability like beautifully. Really. Thank you.
We'd love to hear from people in the audience. If anyone else wants to ask any questions, yes, there's a woman there. We'll just get you a microphone. Okay.
No, I mean, the tap dancing thing was kind of something I decided to add in there like last minute, as something that is so unrelated to the story. So I just wanted something that made no sense at all to be in there, but in a way helps her as just someone who's she's kind of just sitting around, and um, it's something that I think Lily would want to do. But Amy didn't learn how to tap dance, but she's pretty good at it.
I'm wondering if you could, what it was like. I'm trying to think how I want to ask this question, but so this is her experience, and you worked together with her to write it. How is it actually directing on set in terms of um, anything that came up for her as she was reliving sort of what she's gone through?
Yeah, I think the most emotional she got was we some of those doctor scenes. Both those doctor scenes were filmed where she had her treatment, and I think as soon as we walked in there, she immediately broke down. Um, and I think something that was for her that was very special, and that's something that she really wanted to do, were the radiation treatment shots, which is something you very seldom see in film about cancer. So I've never seen it. Truthfully, I didn't even really. I knew people go through radiation, but I didn't know it was that. And then when we went and scouted the location, I immediately was like, "Oh my god, we really need to use this." It was and in the film, it's used as kind of like a metaphors for her headspace in a way. Like each shot is like you're very close at the beginning, and then as you go, as you move along, we move further away, and it's kind of like a way of like her train of thought, and she's by the end of it, she's thinking much clearer. Um, and then when we were shooting, we really wanted it to feel kind of completely otherworldly, and kind of like 2001 Space Odyssey or Solaris or something like that. And we wanted that also to be very separate from everything else.
Anyone else want to engage with Matt while he's here? And maybe even if you have any comments about the film or Oh, I see. Okay, there's a hand over there. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to congratulate you on the film.
Thank you.
I was very, very moved, and I haven't had cancer yet. Hope I don't. How do you go about getting financial support to make films like this?
It's incredibly hard. Um, but I was fortunate enough to have worked in the commercial world, and I did not like that at all. And so I had made a decent amount of money from that, and I took all of it and put it into this. So that's how I got the money for it. Now I don't have any money.
Yes, there's a hand up right over here.
I mean, she would like to do more acting. This is the first thing she's ever acted in. I mean, Amy was she's so easy to work with, and when you're directing, I mean, you're really fortunate to have someone that can that you wrote with to help you steer the scene in the right direction because they know the story so well. So she definitely was an ally in that respect, but um, the intimacy of it just came from me really wanting to make a very intimate and subtle film, and I wanted the audience to kind of it's almost like you're in the room with her, and so like the camera movements are very kind of representation of how you would be, like, if you're in the doctor's office and you're in the corner, you would be turning your head and listening to what each person had to say, and if you were in the bedroom, you'd be looking around, and you know, yeah, it was important to me to make it kind of, like you were almost a fly on the wall in her life, and so yeah, that's it.
I want to. I'm sure many of you would like people you know to see this film. So, can you tell us a little bit about what are the plans so that people can see this film? Because this, unfortunately, is only the one screening that we have here at the festival. So, how could people see it?
Well, we have a Facebook, so you can go on there and like it. I guess that's what you do. I proceed on Facebook, but it's gonna have a release actually in the fall. Not here, but it will be available on iTunes and I think Amazon and other things of that nature. So you can look for it in the fall. But if you go on our Facebook, you will know about it. Well, actually, this was shot like almost 3 years ago, so it's been a while. I've been writing something for the past 2 years that I'm getting very close to finishing, and then I will have to go through that very grueling process of actually having to raise money. So, but yeah, it's a story similar to this, exploring vulnerability and such. She's doing all right. She will likely have to have a vasectomy. So I think actually, if you want to know a lot, if you want to know about Amy, she has a blog, and it's called "Boo Cancer, You Suck," and that's how this actually started. Really, I should say that. Actually, she told me about her blog, and I went on and read it, and was really taken by it. And so you guys should check it out. But it's called "Boo Cancer, You Suck." If you Google that, it'll come up, and you'll learn everything about her and what she's going through, even to this day.
Thank you so much for making such an incredible film and for joining us today. It's a real treat and pleasure for us. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.